365 Sports.
All right, 2021 was the last time that a college football team beat another college football team, the same team, twice in the same year. That was Georgia over Alabama.
Makes sense. Makes
It
sense.
doesn't happen a lot, does it?
No, it does not.
It's hard to do, especially because you don't play everybody every year like you might in the NFL division. So
Very
I'm
true.
Kevin. Here's my son Liam. This is our special guest. We'll get to that in a second. We are the Unstable Blues, happy to present 365 Indiana Sports as part of the 365 Sports Network. This episode, we're going to discuss the college football playoff rematch between Oregon and Indiana. And we welcome in our special guest. So here we go. It's Dan Lanning is here.
Yes.
Oh, well, the look-alike somewhat there.
His prodigy.
Yes, this is Zach, our friend, coach of one of my son's football teams, basketball teams, a coach along the way, so he knows his stuff. Prodigy, as he says. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at 365 Sports Indiana, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Liam.
Yes.
Cam Newton said, "We've never seen Indiana down where they actually have to challenge Fernando Mendoza to make a play to win the game." What do you think about that?
Ohio State, he had to make a play. It was Becker just as much as Mendoza.
Yeah,
In the Iowa game, he had to make a play. It was
right?
also Surratt, though. But just in those two alone, the Penn State game, he put it where only his receiver could get it. Like, he's making the plays. It can be only so much that happens, so that there can only be so much that happens that he can do by himself. He puts it where the receiver can catch it, and that's all he can do.
Cam Newton obviously doesn't watch Indiana football, which he claims he doesn't. But, there we go. All right. Time to get to the keys to the game. We have Indiana perspective and we have Oregon perspective from Zach. Zach, what's a key from your perspective for Oregon to win this game?
It's going to be what it has been all year. I think the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, you saw it when they played the first time. Defense, offensive line, Oregon and Indiana, they were pretty evenly matched. And the game came down to who was going to turn the ball over, and it favored Indiana. So,
which leads me to one that I always include, and that is protect the ball and take the ball. If you want to win the game, you must almost always win the turnover battle. And, I mean, credit to Oregon. They got the late pick six, and it looked out of hand like it could be, but credit Indiana and Mendoza for having that mentality to bounce back. Speaking of which, open goal, rebounder, and goal setup is perfect for your backyard. Click the link in the description for more. Liam, you got a key for us?
Yeah, I have quite a few. We got to run the ball and keep running the ball. It's a staple for me every single week because I think it's such a vital part of football nowadays. It's gone kind of back towards the run. Now it's more of an even split between the two. And you have maybe that has backfilled in entire college football with Roman Hemby and Caleb Block sharing the touches, and Martin back there, even as a third string, is still almost as good as the other two. But Hemby and Black, they gotta have a big game here.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, watching what Hemby did to Alabama when they would give him the rock, man, he was getting what was he averaging, 3 to 4 yards a carry?
Yeah, Kalen actually more than that, but yeah.
And he drove the ball even when he didn't have yards. He was still able to push for those 3 to 4 yards, and it decimated Alabama's defense.
Yeah.
It exposed their flaw. That was the key component to their success.
Yeah.
So,
What else from Oregon perspective?
Oregon perspective, as far as stopping that,
or just in general?
I mean, I think like I said, the line of scrimmage is what's going to determine success for both teams. You saw it in the first game. I think it was tied up until the fourth quarter, 2020,
Yep.
and then a few costly mistakes ended up favoring Indiana.
Yep.
And I think whoever flinches first in this is gonna pay the price in
Yeah.
the long run. So it's got to be perfect on both sides of the ball. You saw it against Texas Tech,
Yeah.
right? Their offense wasn't tested all year long, albeit BYU twice. But then Oregon, you saw the talent. Now you've got Indiana, where Oregon, they've got more talent on paper. Indiana's a lot more mature, and they are very aggressive, and they will move Oregon on the line of scrimmage. It's just how are you going to respond for 4 quarters?
Yeah.
So
Liam?
Yeah. Kind of credit to what you said something earlier, Zach. I think you kind of do have to play perfect, and whoever's going to win the game is going to be able to, one, control the line of scrimmage, like you've been saying, and two, um, take take your opportunities whenever you're given them. So if they play press coverage and you have a man beater, and Becker goes deep, throwing the ball. Test him in one-on-one coverage. Take care of the ball, but also use those opportune moments and strike.
I think the other thing for IU is to make Oregon one dimensional. Oregon has a really uh, strong run game, double headed snake, much like Indiana. And so I want to see Dante Moore try to be forced to beat Indiana with his arm. And the other part of that is containing him as well in the scramble run game. That he is probably a little bit more dangerous than Mendoza, although Mendoza is sneaky dangerous. But if you can make a team one dimensional, that's another way to, another key to winning a ball game. So, all
Yeah.
right. Then what are some of the matchups that you're looking for or looking at for this to become a win? What do you think, Zach?
I'm gonna skip the line of scrimmage because that's literally been my focal point. But I want to see Brandon Finney. I want to see him go against Omar Cooper or Elijah Surratt, and see how he handles that type of pressure. Because against Texas Tech, he looked unstoppable. He's a freshman, but earlier in the season, they were having their way as wide receivers when they were blocking on the run game or even short passing. Indiana likes to stretch you thin as the defense before they take their shots downfield. And I think what we've seen from Brandon Finney has been pretty clutch in the postseason up to this point. Uh, and our linebacker play as well. Hemby's going to run. He's going to get his touches. Can our linebackers fill those gaps to be able to slow them down?
Yeah.
That's my main driver
you,
right there.
You bring up a good point about the difference of how these teams are built. You referenced it earlier, but Oregon really builds through the high school, the recruitment, and a lot of young guys. Indiana is not built that way. They're built mostly through the transfer portal, with 5-6 year guys who are ready to give whatever it takes and come in humble and hungry, ready to be together as a team. And so it's kind of this difference of philosophy. And so what I'm looking at is Decorian Moore versus D'Angelo Pons. Young receiver, veteran cornerback, overlooked cornerback, maybe, I don't want to say overhyped, but a lot of hype on young receiver. I want to see how they match up. Obviously, a second time as Decorian he had some injury, struggled with some injury, right? But now is back. That's the thing that's different. Also, is Oregon was healthy when they first met, but now they kind of went through some injuries, but now they're all healthy again, and so. Same team, but gone through different paths to kind of get there. Liam, what's some matchups you're looking at?
Both of you guys kind of touched on some of mine, so I'm gonna go with Isaiah Jones and Aiden Fisher versus the Dante Moore Scramble, and both of those guys have been very near the ball whenever turnovers happen. So turnovers on Dante Moore as well. Um, and then you like to throw in coaching matchups all the time. I'm gonna do one too. Kurt Signetti versus Dan Lannings. It's they've been talking about each other in very nice ways all week. So we'll see how much of that psychological warfare takes into place during the game.
Yeah, and you know the other thing to look for in that run game is Davison and Witherspoon. That front seven that has been so strong for IU has their own two-headed monster to deal with now in the run game, and I think sometimes we can underestimate how important this is. That Oregon probably went into the first matchup thinking, maybe not to this extent, but we're at home and it's just IU and nobody can beat us at home, and thinking that IU was overranked and kind of got caught by surprise a little bit. And that won't happen this time. Both teams are going to be aptly prepared for what is on the other side. So it's going to come down to execution and coaching. So I'm glad you brought that up. Anything else from you?
Yeah, just to add on to that about Oregon being caught off guard, it's Oregon and Indiana are very similar in their play style. The difference though is when you look at the roster for Oregon, they have so many 5-star, 4-star compared to Indiana. And this is the motto I've always lived by my whole life playing sports growing up. And it's proven because Kurt Signetti does this year in and year out. Hard work beats talent when talent's not working. Kurt Signetti takes these kids that are 3-star and less and gets the experience under their belt to go out and just do their job. That will beat talent any day of the week. It's nice, and it's a blessing to have a school like Oregon where these athletes pray to go to, but then when you have a coach like Signetti that's taking these kids in and he's teaching them just to do their sole job, and it's rewarding, you see it pay off, and you've seen it when he was at JMU and up to this point. He takes these kids and is able to produce at a high level, and that's also going to be highly favorable for them coming into this matchup. They work hard. You see it on both sides of the ball. You see it everywhere. So,
and I think Dan Lanning has been able to do the same kind of thing, just in a different way with high school recruits.
Correct.
Bringing them in, and I think that's a credit in what we've been saying all year is the difference between SEC football and Big Ten football. Big Ten football, Big Ten basketball, all the same, tough, team-oriented, where as the Big Ten has grown, it's hard to say this, but it's that Midwestern kind of mentality that we are going to buckle down and we are going to work hard. And that, I think, is the biggest difference of why we are seeing success and why, as we've been proven correct, the Big Ten is the superior conference to the SEC in football. Not in history, but right now. All right, with that said, it is time, forgive us, for our who player of the game. So we're looking at the player that you think is going to have the biggest impact on the game. Liam, why don't you lead us off?
Last week, mine was Isaiah Jones, and it turned out to be him. So I'm going to go with another one here. Roman Hendy has to have a big game.
All right. There you go. Zach, what do you think for Oregon? Who's got to have the biggest impact?
I think it's going to be a mix of two. I think it has to be Dante Moore. Watching him in the Texas Tech game, he did enough to get by on the offense, but we're going to need a little more out of him. He threw a pick over the middle when he got pressured. Indiana's going to bring pressure just like they saw against Texas Tech. You've got to take what you can get and make smart decisions, but also Kenyon Sadiq. I think that guy, he's skipped the last 2 games when it comes to production. I think Oregon utilizes him a little bit more in this game because he's a matchup nightmare as a blocker on the run game. but also catching the ball. He can catch the ball just about as well as anyone in college, hence being the highest rated tight end in college. So I think it's going to come down to those two, blocking for the run game, making smart decisions. For Dante Moore, which he's grown, and you're seeing it on a week in, week out basis. But those will probably be my two.
Yeah, I like it. I can see it. I am going to say that it's a player that midseason nobody knew about, was even on the Hoosier team, and that is Charlie Becker. He has become an integral part of what IU has done, starting in the Penn State game and never backing down, stepping in for Elijah Surratt in that game. And even as Surratt and Cooper and E.J. Williams have gotten healthy again, Becker is still such a very integral part of what they do, because it creates differences as you talk about matchup nightmares. You know, you have 4 different receivers that are entirely different about in physical stature and how they run routes and their speed and their shiftiness, and so that makes it incredibly difficult for a secondary to kind of match up with who's out there and a coaching staff to get the right personnel out there. So Charlie Becker, I think, is going to play a huge role. It may only be 1 or 2 catches, but I think those 1 or 2 catches could go for 50, 60 yards apiece, or something like that in a touchdown, because that's kind of how sneaky Charlie Becker is within that.
Yeah.
All right, prediction time. I'll give you mine first. All right. I'm gonna say I am not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious, and so I'm gonna pick the other team. I think Oregon wins 36-34. I'm ready. I think I'm going to go even bolder than that. I think this goes into, is it double overtime where they have to start doing a 2-point? I think it goes into double overtime, and it's a missed 2-point conversion that decides the game.
Okay.
What do you think, Zach?
It's, for me, this game is going to be a pick 'em, really. I think the first one to 21 points is going to end up sealing the deal. These teams have gotten better since the first time they've played. You saw what good defense has done to these programs, and they've had to work. Penn State, when they played Indiana, their defense started to figure it out late in the season, and they were able to put together a performance that we thought they were going to do all year long.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Oregon play Texas Tech, and Oregon had to go for it numerous times on 4th down just to control the clock. So I think the first one to 21, if I'm giving my prediction, I think it's going to be 24-17 Indiana.
All right.
Being a realist, so.
There we go. Liam?
I am not superstitious or a little stitious. I'm going to go Indiana 28-24.
All right. I like it. Well, that's all that we have for today. Thank you to Zach for stepping in and giving us that Oregon perspective. We'll be back tomorrow with our Wild Card Weekend Unstable Pick 6 predictions. Then we'll finish off the week with a Candy Stripe Clear Out update on IU basketball and keep the pace with the Pacers that are just agonizing to watch right now.
Well, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin and Zach,
reminding you to stay 365 Sports Indiana.
365 Sports.